So this is the ungrateful slot just after lunch. So just to wake everybody up, can we just have a show of hands? Who identifies as a reward leader in charge of compensation and benefits? Show of hands. Nice. Who identifies as more of like a benefits supplier? Nobody. Who identifies as a broker, intermediary, advisor? Okay. So like, it's really good to know, right? Because what we're about to talk about can be very different for different audiences. So welcome to Global Benefits Strategy, Design, Delivery, and AI. Super quick, I'm Sebastian. People call me Seb. I'm from Germany originally. I'm one of the co-founders and the CEO of a company called Ben. Ben for benefits. We're building the world's most flexible employee benefits platform. We have a stand out there. Please come and talk to us. What's my journey? I've only been in benefits for 5 years, which is quite interesting because many of you will have been in benefits for a much longer time. So I'll try to provide a bit of a journey in terms of like, how did I get here? What were the observations? What did I find odd? And what is still a bit weird to me? Previously, I was a CTO. I was a physicist. I love hard problems. And this is a hard problem. Benefits are hard problems. I also worked in strategy with really large organizations delivering big, big projects. So I know how hard it can be to turn a big ship. So kudos to you all. Take home value. Like, what am I trying to get across? Like, what can we hopefully leave the room today with and say, like, Seb got this across? Number one, let's talk about global benefit strategy. What does it mean, to us at least? And you might disagree. That's what Slido is for. Secondly, a bit of a practical tour of, like, how do you get there? Like, how do you find a strategy? And then how do you execute on it? Because especially globally, that is not easy. And number three, a bit of a glimpse into the future. Like, I'm trying to keep this quite high level because like sort of so much is being done already on like AI and all the chatbots and so on. So like I'll try and present something that's maybe slightly different and hopefully you'll like it. Let's talk about global benefit strategy. So to us, a global benefit strategy is an approach that delivers global benefit consistency with local customization. It's something I'll keep coming back to, like the idea of you have a global workforce and they have different benefits with different legislations. So this is the challenge of having consistency across the globe, but being quite customized on a local level. And what are the guardrails that we see when we talk to customers and we advise them? Number one, this is a choice. You make a choice versus market and competition, what you want to do. And number two, it's a choice versus aspiration. Do you want to be leading? Like, what is your aspiration in terms of wanting to be an employer of choice? This is an important topic. 80% of customers or prospects or folks that we talk to say they want consistency. They want standard. They want a global standard in order to build on, and they're finding it challenging. And like, I want to talk a little bit about why we think this is challenging, and hopefully you agree. Before we started Ben, 5 years ago, when I came to this industry, I thought benefits was simple. I also thought it was solved, right? Like, I thought there are 3 steps to getting this done. Number one, you figure what you want, aspiration, goal setting, this is what I want to achieve. Step 2, you design your benefits. This is what I want. This is what I want in every country. And you pick from a magical marketplace of benefits, and it's all breezy. Step 3, you deliver it. You maybe get a platform, maybe not. You push a button, you launch, and it's done. Payroll, communications, everything's perfect. The numbers are right. Employees are engaged. Not the case. All of you in this room know that that's not the reality. The reality is setting out to actually figure out what you want to do is not easy. Like, where do you even start? Number 2, benefits design. What's the right mix of benefits? How do I approach this? Like the mix between countries, the mix between voluntary, core, maybe flex on top. And then thirdly, the delivery, right? Like, again, where do I start? How do I do payroll? How does enrollment get managed? Which suppliers do I pick in all my countries around the world? And how do I do comms? Why is it hard? And that sort of relates to when I entered the industry, sort of trying to figure out, like, why is this a little bit broken, right? Like, this should be easy. Like, why is it so hard? There are 2 big problems that I believe, are holding the industry back. Number one, knowledge is siloed. And that's specifically true for benefits design. Local geographic benefits are complicated. They're complex. And the knowledge is in some people's head. It's sometimes on the internet, but it's definitely not easy to come by. Secondly, competitive benchmarking and just understanding like what's common practice. Similarly, it's actually nowhere available that I know of. And secondly, around the delivery, benefits is fragmented and complex. you have hundreds and thousands of suppliers who are not particularly well connected. There are no standards for data sharing, specifying benefits, price sharing, or even exchanging information about changes to enrollments and stuff like that. And that's a huge problem. These are data problems. And that's a really interesting takeaway that I'll keep coming back to. Where there is data, there is AI. So in many ways, managing benefits and delivering benefits is actually a data problem. And AI, turns out, is really, really good at doing stuff with data. This is my view on how benefits design could look like. That's often how we look at the problem. You start with your core benefits at the bottom, statutory requirements, the big four of benefits design. Then you layer on supplemental stuff that might be geographically different. It might be paid for by the employee, might be subsidized by the employer, not necessarily. And then maybe even you have flex funds on top, like something that's become quite popular recently, very popular in the US and the Americas, around giving even more flexibility and giving pots of money to employees to pick from a marketplace of things. So that's the idea, right? That's what we would want to design. And then the question is, how do we bring it to life? And how you bring it to life is you put it on a platform, right? There are plenty of platforms out there. We are just one of them. And you try to pick off these three angles, right? You want the core benefits delivered. You want the marketplace or supplemental stuff on top. And maybe even for full flexibility, you want the allowances at the very top. How do you get there? So that's the question around what are the steps you take? What's the practical advice? What to do first, second, and third? We often think of benefits design as a first step, followed by benefits delivery. Benefits design involves listening to your employees, running surveys, maybe even going back to what's already there. You might be running a survey. There might be lots of gold hidden in sort of past focus groups or so in terms of what employees care about, what they want, and how you could support them. Then number two, benchmarking. So that's looking outside. What is the competition doing? Looking at the market, what's the market doing? And then obviously times the number of countries you're in, making this ever more complex. And this is a number crunching exercise, followed by harmonization. Thinking about how do these findings map to your offering on a per country basis. And then going back to what's available, who are the suppliers, what are the products, and trying to harmonize across countries in line with these principles that I mentioned in the beginning around global consistency and local customization. Then, second big step, delivery. You onboard the benefits. You take what you have already, put it on a platform. You might, in the process of design, have found lots of new stuff you want to do. Move it onto a platform, go back to the suppliers and start the procurement process. Secondly, communication and engagement. Super, super important. Once you have put stuff on the platform, you need to let your employees know. And lots of companies here today talking about how to do this, how to leverage AI to do it. There's so much exciting stuff happening in that space. And then number three, benefit governance. Not the sexiest sort of word, but really important. Come back again and again, look what's going on relative to trends. The beauty about benefits is they never stay the same. What was relevant just post-COVID or in COVID was very different from what's sort of relevant now, relevant during the time of sort of high inflation and the cost of living crisis, and who knows what's around the corner next year. A new pandemic, hopefully not. Benefit design, balancing global consistency with local customization. I already mentioned the three steps. The output is actually quite boring. This is a number crunching exercise. This is around looking at different countries that typically differ in terms of regulation. What's statutory? What are the tax incentives that might be available? Germany, for example, benefit in kind budget. The UK, some other things. The US, yet other things. What's the market standard? And what are the employee expectations? Also really important. Sometimes aligned with markets, sometimes not. Benefits delivery, I mentioned it already, from onboarding to the business as usual, where you do take what you already have, put it on your platform, and then add whatever is on top. Let's talk very briefly about why everybody is so excited about AI. So what we're seeing, and what's sometimes a bit misunderstood, is actually there has been 70 years worth of research into AI, and we've just had a huge paradigm shift. So starting from the 1950s, when AI actually started sort of alongside computers, like AI is as old as computers are, all the way to 2022, when ChatGPT was released to the world, machine learning and AI was basically a problem of you have a model, you give it an input, and you ask it to do a certain thing. So here's the model, here's the input. I want you to meet a certain objective, and I expect the objective to be done within a certain error margin. Examples would be, read my number plate on the M25. Happens all the time. Happens to you too. And we're really, really good at it. We're fantastic at reading number plates, reading letters and turning them into text. Recognizing faces. Similarly, we're really, really good at it because this is a fairly simple problem where the AI can be extremely good and very, very verticalized. So this is the paradigm of you take the machine learning model, and you tell it to go solve a problem. So what's the new thing and how to think about it? The age of Gen AI, generative AI, is a slightly different twist. You take a model that was usually actually designed to do the thing on the left, and you feed it natural language. The model generates an output, which everybody was super surprised in 22, actually generates something that sounds like a human speaking, because the model has been trained on the entire internet. And then you rinse and repeat. And we've all done it, right? We've all used ChatGPT. We've all got products that are slowly incorporating Gen AI features. And it is things like writing a draft email on the basis of 3 bullet points. I put it in, it drafts. I can just refine and send it off. Amazing. Similarly, I want to create a flowchart, and I say, please create a flowchart with 5 knots, 5 arrows pointing this and that. Bam, there it is. So this idea of don't go solve the problem, but be my co-pilot. I give you a very simple instruction, or maybe even a complex instruction, and you come back with a 60% version, a 70% version, and I, as a human, then take over, I refine it, and we keep going back and forth. So in my mind, that is the paradigm shift. That's the thing that's so exciting, that we can do that now. We can have machines sitting next to us, watching over our shoulder, making us 10x better at what we do. Tying it back to benefits design and delivery, where do we think the opportunities are? In benefits design, the benchmark and harmonization process is potentially ripe for disruption. And I'll talk in a minute about what we're doing there and where we think it is going. On the benefits delivery side, the onboarding is really, really interesting because everybody who's been anywhere near an implementation of a global benefits program knows it's hard. You will have hundreds and hundreds of benefits all over the world that need to be taken, specified with prices and rates and rules and so on, and be put into a platform, which means usually we don't do it. Typically, we don't put every benefit under the sun onto platforms. We just do the ones that are easily doable, and the rest we simply don't do. There's a lot happening in communication and engagement, and I'm not going to go there today because so much has already been sort of said about it. Personalized emails, chat co-pilots, like that's all amazing, amazing stuff, but I want to focus on the bit on the left. What would benchmark and harmonization look like if we 10x'd it, if we believed like the future would just keep accelerating? It would probably be something like me going into a product saying like, we're a tech business, we have 500 people, they're in these countries, please find my demographic data, I upload it. Please find all my policies in a zip file, bam, into the AI. Please find the engagement data that I have sort of from my last sort of survey data or my current benefits platform, and now please go and benchmark this against market. Please relate it to the current trends that we're seeing in the market and give me the output. And I would want the AI to come back and say, here are these tables that I showed 3-4 slides ago, pretty much automatically in a 60% version, right? Like, it doesn't have to be perfect, but it would kickstart a process and give me superpowers. And obviously, what these machines are really, really good at doing, talk to me. Explain to me what the situation is. This company has benefits here and there. This is how they're structured. This is what the market is doing. This is what the trends are doing. That's the stuff that these models are extremely good at, and we believe this is where the world is going. What we're doing to do it and have begun to experiment with is exactly that. We're building something that we call BenDB, Ben Database. And we take the data that you need to do benefits design. Benefits and supplier data. Who are the suppliers? What are the benefits? How are they specified? How do they break down in which country? Benchmarking data. And market and compliance data. Legislation. What's statutory? What's tax advantaged? All that stuff that's hard to come by, as I said in the very beginning. And we take that database and train a foundation model. Foundation models are the OpenAI and co-models of this world who are really, really clever and can talk like a human. And it turns out, making them more specific, specified, and telling them what to do exactly has become really, really easy in the last year. And that's exactly what we're doing. And the output is incredible. All of a sudden, you have this model that can chat to you. It can create long-form content, right? Please write a white paper what my benefit strategy in Italy should be, or in India, or how I should harmonize US benefits with Germany. It's a superpower for our consultants internally, and we can't wait to make it public, because that's going to be super exciting for all of you and for brokers and advisors out there. The other example I want to give, and I was a bit hesitant to show this here, but I think it's super cool, and I'll explain how this is relevant to all of you. Benefits delivery, a huge sticking point to rolling out global benefits programs, is actually onboarding all benefits onto a platform, getting the information, encoding it, putting it up in the platform with rules, eligibility, and all of that stuff. So what we've started to experiment with is, what would it look like if an LLM, if an AI actually started the conversation? Sort of, I go in and I say, I want to create this benefit for my people in Italy, and da-da-da-da-da. And the machine comes back and goes, well, that's great. Please answer these questions for me. What's the eligibility? Who should be involved? What's the price? Please point me to the rate table, and so on. And then going all the way to the configuration. And then in the end, actually building the benefit in the platform. So it doesn't start from the beginning, unfortunately. But this is a video of what the platform can do today. And I'll just let it finish for a second. But it's exactly what I just described. So you go in, and you start typing natural language. In this case, I think they're talking about a loan benefit that should be a reimbursement, maybe with a particular interest rate, available for certain people. So just talking to the machine, exactly like you would in ChatGPT. Then you click the button. So now the machine goes back and thinks, what do I need to ask? Like, what are the questions I need to ask to actually build this benefit? This is the stuff that usually takes weeks and weeks and weeks of writing documents and talking to people. And that's the reason why we can't roll out into every country in the world and bring every benefit under the sun onto a platform. Once I've answered all the questions, I click a button again. It starts thinking about it. And it actually prepares the benefit for me in a very simple interface where I can refine it. So this is now as if I had been the operator and created it for me. There's even a little co-pilot here where people can go in and say, like, oh, actually, I changed my mind. I didn't want it to be like this. I want it to be like that. And the output is literally this. So once you switch there, the benefit becomes live in our platform. So why is this interesting? Like, this is obviously behind the scenes. Like, this is part of a benefits deployment. But this is the reason. This not existing is the reason why it's so hard to put new benefits live, why you have change requests, and you simply aren't able to roll benefits into every country under the sun. And we're super excited about this because these two examples are really great examples of AI commoditizing something, bringing something that was previously expensive or slow or really, really difficult to everybody. And we feel, to come full circle, that's the biggest gift that this technology is currently giving us. Everything becomes 10x, and we humans become 10x, and we couldn't be more excited about it. I'm going to stop here because the time is up. Would love to hear your questions, and thanks.